Welcome to Act 5, Scene 1 of Julius Caesar. So, in this scene, Antony and Octavius discuss that though the enemy seems powerful and fearless, they are just putting on a brave face. That is when Brutus and Cassius arrive, and both sides exchange insults and accusations at each other. Finally, the scene ends with Cassius and Brutus saying their farewell if they lose the war and do not meet again. So, this is the gist of what happens in the scene. Now, let's go into the line by line explanation. So, in this scene, Octavius and Antony and their army are present. So, Octavius tells to Antony, now, Antony, our prayers are answered. You said that the enemy would not come down, but it would keep up to the hills and upper regions. But that has proved not to be the case. The battles, that is the army, they are approaching and they are going to warn us at Philippi here and attack us before we attack them. So Antony replies, touch, I am in their bosom. So he's saying, I know what is in their minds. I know their secret thoughts and I know wherefore they do it. So he's saying, I know the reason why they are doing it. They could be content to visit other places and come down with fearful bravery. So he's saying they could have been happier if they were somewhere else. But they're putting a brave face and they're thinking that this show, but they are actually hiding fear. So to fasten in our thoughts that they have courage, but it is not so. They're just putting a false show that they are courageous and brave, but that is not the case. A messenger enters. So the messenger says, prepare yourself, generals. The enemy is coming on, putting on a great display. Their bloody sign of battle is hung out. So they are coming with such a sign that they are about to attack and something should be done immediately. Antony tells to Octavius, Octavius, lead your battle slowly on the left-hand side of the level field. So Octavius says, upon the right hand, I will keep to the right hand and you keep to the left. So Antony says, why do you cross me in this exigent? So why do you want to defy me even in this critical moment? Octavius says, I do not cross you, but I will do so. So he's saying, I'm not defying you, but I am going to do that. So the drum beats and Brutus, Cassius and their army, including Lucilius, Titus and Messala, they enter. So Brutus says they stand and would have parley. So Brutus is saying they have stopped and would like to have a talk. So Cassius says, stand fast, Titus, we must out and talk. So he says, stay here, Titus, we must go and talk. So Octavius says, Mark Antony, shall we give the sign of battle? So Antony says, no Caesar, means no Octavius Caesar, we will respond only when they attack. That is, we will answer on their charge. Make forth means go forward. The generals would like to have a word with us, would like to talk to us. So Octavius tells to his officers, stir not until the signal. So do not move until we have given the signal. And the generals step forward for a discussion. So Brutus says, words before blows. Is it so, countrymen? Oh, so we are exchanging words before we start fighting. Is it so, countrymen? Octavius says, not that we love words better as you do. So not like we love words more than fighting like you do. So Brutus says, good words are better than bad strokes. That is worthless fighting, Octavius. So Antony says, in your bad strokes, Brutus, you give good words. So he's saying along with he says you give a nice speech along with your evil strokes. So you said long live, hail Caesar, and that is when you made a hole in Caesar's heart. So Cassius says, Antony, the posture of your blows are yet unknown. So we don't know the effect of your blows yet. But your words, they are so sweet that they rob the Hybla bees of their own honey. Antony says, I took their sting too. So Brutus says, oh yes, and soundless too. So this is an important part here. You have stolen their buzzing sound to Antony because you very smartly warned us before you stung. So Antony is telling them, villains, but you did not give us any warning while your vile daggers struck each other in the sides while killing Caesar. All the while you showed your teeth and smiled like apes and fawned like hounds. Means you showed such flattery like dogs, but you killed Caesar all the while. And bowed like bondmen, and you bowed down like slaves, kissing Caesar's feet, while Casca like a cur. Cur means dog. So he's saying all of you were giving flattery to Caesar, all the while Casca, like a dog, struck from behind on the neck of Caesar. Oh, you flatterers. So Cassius is saying, flatterers, now Brutus, thank yourself. This tongue had not offended so today if Cassius might have ruled. So he's saying that this tongue wouldn't have offended us today if you had listened to me the other day of killing Mark Antony along with Caesar, but you didn't listen to me. So Octavius says, come, the cause. So let's come to the point, or let's come to the reason why we have assembled here. If arguing is making us sweat, then the proof of it will turn to redder drops. So the battle will turn to redder drops. Look, I draw a sword against the conspirators. So he has taken the sword from his sheath and he's drawing the sword against the conspirators. So he says, when do you think the sword will go back in its sheath again? Never, till Caesar's 33 wounds are taken revenge of. So until I take revenge of the 33 wounds that you have given Caesar, I will not put the sword back in its sheath. Or until another Caesar has been killed by the swords of the traitors. So another Caesar is Octavius Caesar. So until he is killed, this sword will not go back in its sheath. So Brutus says, Caesar, thou canst not die by traitor's hand. So Caesar, you are not going to be killed by traitor unless thou bringest them with thee. Unless you kill yourself, the conspirators are not going to kill you. So Octavius says, so I hope I was not born to die on Brutus's sword. So I hope that I was not born that I would die by Brutus's sword. So Brutus says, oh, if thou were the noblest of thy strain, young man, thou could not die more honorable. So he's saying is, even if you were the noblest in your family, you could not have died more an honorable death than by dying in Brutus's hand. So Cassius says, a peevish schoolboy. So you're saying you're just a cranky, annoying schoolboy. You are worthless of such honor that is bestowed upon you. You are joined with the masker. So masker is, you are joined with a masquerader who puts a mask, and a reveler. Reveler means who likes to party. So Antony says, old Cassius, still you haven't changed, have you? So Octavius says, come Antony, let's go. So he says, traitors, we defy you on your face. And if you dare fight today, if you have the daring to fight today, come to the field. If not, have when you have the courage. And they exit. So Cassius says, let the winds blow, let the waves swell, and the swim bark, means let the ship float. The storm is up. So the storm has started and everything is at stake now. So Brutus says, Lucius, hark, a word with you. I want to have a word with you. So Lucilius says, my lord. So Brutus and Lucilius step aside together. Cassius says, Messala, and Messala says, what is it, general? So Cassius says, Messala, this is my birthday, as this very day was Cassius born. So he's saying, today is my birthday and today I was born. Give me your hand, Messala. Be thou my witness that against my will, as Pompey was, I am compelled to set upon one battle all our liberties. So he's saying, you bear witness that I am going against my will and I am forced, just like how Pompey was, to bet all of our freedoms in one battle. You know that I held Epicurus strong. So Epicurus is actually a Greek philosopher, and Cassius believed his teachings. That is saying, I believed in the philosophy of Epicurus. There is no such thing as bad omen, but now I have changed my mind and partly credit things that do presage. And I partly believe now that things does present itself. Coming from Sardis, on our former ensign, two mighty eagles fell, and then they perched, gorging and feeding from our soldiers' hands. So he's saying, when we were coming from Sardis, two mighty eagles came and they perched and fed from our soldiers' hand, who came with us to Philippi here. So they accompanied us to Philippi here. This morning are they fled away and gone. So this morning, those two mighty eagles fled away. And in their place, ravens, crows, and kites, they are flying over our head and looking down at us as we are a prey, ready to pounce and eat us. And he adds, their shadows seem like a deadly canopy over our head, under which the army lies, ready to die. So Masala says, believe not, so don't think like that. This part is important. So Cassius says, I believe in it only partly, not fully. And now I am fresh and hopeful and determined to meet all perils. Perils means dangers. Very constantly means without wavering. And Brutus says, even so, Lucilius. So Brutus has completed his conversation with Lucilius and he returns to Cassius. So Cassius says, now, most noble Brutus, the gods today stand friendly that we may, lovers in peace, lead on our days to age. So he's saying the gods are friendly with us today, and we hope that we may, who are lovers in peace or who love peace, can live up to our old age. But since the affairs of men rest still uncertain, so he's saying since the affairs of men are always uncertain, let's think about the worst that may happen to us. So if we do lose this battle, then is this the very last time we shall speak together? So what do you then determine to do? What do you then plan to do if we lose the battle? So Brutus says, even by the rule of that philosophy. So the philosophy here he's talking about is the Stoic philosophy, which even Cato followed, by which I did blame Cato for the death which he did give himself. So he's saying that I blamed Cato for that he committed suicide. I know not how, but I do find it coward and vile. So he said, I find committing suicide a very coward action for fear of what might fall. So to think about the possible suffering later on, you are just killing yourself. But I find that inappropriate. But I am arming myself with patience and I am going to submit to the gods above, who decides our fate. So that governs us below. So Cassius is saying, then if we lose this battle, you are contented, are you satisfied to be led in triumph through the street of Rome? So Cassius is shocked. He's saying, that means are you going to be led through chains through the street of Rome? So Brutus says, no, Cassius, no. Think not, thou noble Roman, that ever Brutus will go bound in chains to Rome. So this is also an important part. So he's saying, never think that Brutus will go bound in chains to Rome. My mind is too great for that. But today, this same day, must end that work the Ides of March began. So we must end the work today that we began in the Ides of March, that is the killing of Caesar. And I don't know whether we shall meet again. I know not. So he's saying, I don't know whether we're going to meet again. therefore our everlasting farewell take. So please accept this everlasting farewell. Forever and forever farewell, Cassius. If we do meet again, so Cassius says, forever and forever farewell, Brutus. If we do meet again, we'll smile indeed. If not, it's true that this parting was well made. So Brutus says, why then lead on? Oh, that a man might know the end of this day's business ere it come. So he says, I wish a man could know that what would happen at the end of the day. But it is sufficient to know that the day will end, and that is when the end will be known. Come, ho, away. So let us go. And they all exit. So this is the end of Act 5, Scene 1. So I hope everything that was explained was clear. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you.